All right, guys, welcome to the Dynasty 365 show. I am Stacy Perez. I have got my two favorite Kens here with me tonight. I've got Tyler Heil and Chris Burns. Guys, tonight we are going to be starting a 4-part series, taking a closer look at our rookie class, and we're going to go division by division, deciding if all this preseason hype is legit or not. So let's do it. Good night, everybody. Guys, so sorry for the late start tonight. I had a few issues with my internet, and we had to wait for my router to reboot. You know, technology just it failed me tonight. So apologies for being a few minutes late for everybody. Thanks for those of you who stuck around. Jamie, we see you in the chat. Drew is in the chat. Sam, we see you too. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Guys, before we get started with our show topic, I like to do friendly banter. You guys know this is my favorite thing. So tonight, this is what we're going to talk about. Literally the biggest debate facing our nation at this moment, Barbie versus Oppenheimer, right? That's clearly the biggest thing that we're dealing with. So I want to know your thoughts, your opinions on this huge debate, this crisis, if you will, of Barbenheimer. What is up, Chalupa Batman in the chat? Hello. So Chris, I want to hear your thoughts first. Team Barbie, Team Oppenheimer.
All right, so let me just start by saying I appreciate all the money that Hollywood has put into movies this summer. They backing these two guys trying to get us back into the theaters, which is good. It's good for us to get back out there. Unfortunately, it didn't work for me. Neither of these movies make me want to go to the theater, to be honest with you. So, like, my profession is in nuclear energy, not weaponry. But because of the whole nuclear, correlation, I do want to see Oppenheimer, but from the comfort of my own home when I can, pause it and do my own thing. But as for Barbie, not so much for me. My wife, she saw it. She really, really liked it. So I supported it by proxy. Just wasn't for me. But
Tyler, what are your thoughts?
I have a very important question for Chris. Why is it nuclear? Why is it not just nuclear?
Nuclear?
You're just adding letters.
Well, I agree.
And being in the field of nuclear energy, I'm wondering why.
Nuclear. Maybe it's just diction,
Maybe. I'm not saying you're pronouncing it wrong. I'm saying a lot of people pronounce it that way. It just throws me for a loop. Anyway, I would gladly see both. I love going to the movie theater. I have seen neither. It's very difficult to get to a movie theater when you have two children. But the one thing I will say is Oppenheimer is a whole thing. It's just that you got to plan your day around it. It's a 3-hour heavy movie that's just about the science behind attempted genocide. It's really freaking heavy. So
interesting way to put it.
Hey, call a spade, right? Yeah, it's a whole thing. So I'm gonna go off mood based. If you're just looking to have a good time and not spend your entire day, go see Barbie. If you're into that Christopher Nolan thing, which I enjoy, go see Oppenheimer. But just know it's going to be your day.
So I saw Barbie this past weekend, and I got to tell you, I thought it was really fun. It was a fun, just very lighthearted movie, and enjoyed it. But I got to tell you, I thought Ryan Gosling kind of stole the whole show as Ken. I don't think it's that fair. I don't think it's fair to be that talented and that good looking too. It's just not. The whole scene where they're singing on the beach with their guitars, for those of you that've seen it, it's just amazing. I think I laughed so hard at that. And I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, but I have tickets for the week after this coming up this week after we get back from the expo. So I'm excited to see that. I didn't quite go quite as heavy as the genocide here, Tyler. I was just more like, I kind of got a thing for Cillian Murphy. So, Peaky Blinders, Cillian Murphy, different character that he's portraying in this movie. But he's great. The cast is really just unbelievable. So really excited to go kind of see that. And I want to see it in the theater. Like, I think that's one that if you had to pick one, I think you have to go see Oppenheimer in the theater, right? It's just one of those like big, like dramatic movies that's just made for a movie theater. And the place that I'm seeing it's actually really cool. It's a movie theater down here in Tampa, downtown Tampa, that was built back in the 1920s, and it's been restored. And they show like a lot of classical movies. They show all kinds of things, and they're doing a special Oppenheimer thing for about a week and a half. So really excited to go see it there with some friends once I get back from the expo this weekend. So looking forward to that. Chris, Albert, we see you in the chat over there. What is up, everybody? Guys, make sure to put your comments and questions over on in the chat for us. Like I said, tonight we're going to be talking about training camp, all the hype that's going on. We've been so starved for NFL content that, we're losing our minds over every single video that's being thrown up there on Twitter right now. And we're going to break it down tonight and decide, like, is this hype real? Is it deserved? Or do we just need to calm down? Do we need to be like Taylor Swift and just calm down a little bit here? So, guys, there's so many rookies to talk about that we decided to break this down. We're going to go division by division. I think there we go. Am I back? I'm back. Guys. Gosh, again, I guess I got to pay my electric bill, pay my internet bill or something. Gotta let Tico know they need to get my internet restored.
Get Ron on it.
Yeah, seriously, call Ron up in Tallahassee or wherever he is right now, as get him down here. But yeah, so we're gonna be going division by division. So this week, what we're doing AFC and NFC East, and so next week we're gonna be doing the South. This week we're doing the East. So I'm gonna start, this week, and actually we have some like really cool videos for you guys too. Some of the ones that have been making their way around the internet that have been getting everybody real hyped up. So we're going, our first team is the Bills. And I'm going to talk about one Mr. Dalton Kincaid. Guys, I think if you guys have listened to me at all, this offseason, I've kind of had a lot to say about Dalton Kincaid's ADP, about it being completely out of control. And, I just want to be clear that, one, I don't hate Dalton Kincaid. Two, I don't think that he's a bust, or I don't think he's overrated. I just have a lot of problem with his ADP in redraft and in best ball right now. But we're a dynasty show. That's what we're talking about tonight. And I think he's a great asset in dynasty. I mean, take a look at him here in this video. If you just look and you can kind of see what you're doing. For those of you who are listening, this is a video of him. I can't remember exactly what day it was, but it's not that far ago. He's running a route over here, just absolutely breaking some ankles here on this defender in camp. And I think, he's going to be a really good asset for this team. So in dynasty formats, I absolutely support taking him. In a draft I just did, he went as the first tight end overall in the first round. So I love him in dynasty. I still have problems with that best ball ADP, with that redraft ADP, but I think that this is probably like the tight end of the future for the Bills, right? Dawson Knox, actually saw an interview from him. He said that he is such a well-polished tight end, that he's picking things up so quickly. He can really see defenses and diagnose things on the fly. And I think the hype is real for Mr. Kincaid. I am absolutely buying into it 100%. So Tyler, 100%. Thank you for 100%. Yeah, 100%. I think the hype's real. I think that he's going to be great on the team, and maybe not right at first. It takes some tight ends some time to really get kind of acclimated to their defense. They're learning two positions, right? But I think he's going to be a great player. I think the Bills really found somebody there. So Tyler, thank you for pulling that video up. So Chris, how about you talk to us a little bit about your Dolphins?
All right. I mean, I'm just going to make it easy. The Dolphins have done everything perfect. All their rookies are amazing. Believe all the hype. No, I'm just joking with you guys. First, we're going to talk about Devon A-Chain, or Devon A-Chain. Like, he added the apostrophe. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to accentuate. But he is It's Devon. Okay, so it's still the same. All right. So Devon A-Chain, he is the third-round running back drafted out of Texas A&M, and lots of love being given to him because of his blazing speed and his playmaking abilities. Some people have even called him the Tyreek Hill of running backs just because anytime he gets the ball, he can break it. So from the beat writers so far, they're saying that A-Chain, like he's showing a lot of burst and speed, which everybody already knew about. Currently, he's a little hobbled. I think today he just came back from an injury that they didn't really say what it was, but they said it wasn't serious. So he's getting back a little limited. A-Chain, he has the talent, but it may be a bit before he gets to see that opportunity, put him on the field. But Jeff Wilson, he's already injured, and Mostert, he didn't practice today. He's a little limited as well. And neither of those guys have the most glowing of medical histories. So it could be a chance that, he plays on there just by way of opportunity, But for right now, I would say temper the hype, at least until deeper into the preseason, where we see his game reps. We see how Mike McDaniel is going to use him in, the different ways. He is absolutely worth a roster spot in dynasties. But just don't acquire him and think that he's going to be a world beater right away, because I don't think that's happening. But I think sometime mid-year or whatever, you will see him starting to get more and more carries, especially since nobody in Miami's backfield can stay healthy. So he's going to get a chance. And then, a couple game breakers and, he'll be right there.
I love that video of him. I mean, he's just so fast. And I mean, obviously he's not even putting out full effort there. But that video, I mean, he's just video game, just zigging and zagging all over the place. I'm just so excited to watch him. And once the season rolls around, he's one of my favorite players that I just have on my list of make sure to watch Dolphin games so I can watch Devon A-Chain.
Absolutely. So Miami, they have that speed. It's like a track meet. But this next rookie, he started off kind of slow. And not, that he had a hard time grasping the offense. He just was slow foot speed. And that's Elijah Higgins. He is a former wide receiver. They are trying to convert him to a tight end. He comes out of Stanford in the 6th round. Notably, he was looking very slow. But then when they put the pads on, the beat writers are saying that he actually started playing better. So his game speed is a lot better than he is when he's out there in shorts. It's just really weird. And he was making some really good plays, but he was playing with the backups, Skylar Thompson and Mike White. And he was just going up against the, second team defense and everything. But he's very athletic and he was in good position. The only thing is that he's not very good at blocking. So I can't see them using him inline so much. And that's why Durham Smythe is there. Connor's on the team. Those are the kind of tight ends that work in Mike McDaniel's system that can actually block, and they can go out and make passes also. If you look how George Kittle was, one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. So maybe they'll find some place to put Higgins, to use that athleticism, kind of like dissecting. But as of right now, the hype, I think it's really not that high, and I don't really think it's warranted so much. He's going to have a hard time making the team. But as far as your dynasties, I guess you could roster him if you have a taxi spot or something, just to wait and see what happens. But don't believe the hype. Kind of like Chris Bean said in the chat, one of the most prolific poets of our time. Don't believe the hype.
I like it. Tyler, you've got the Hard Knocks darlings this year. Tell me about those Jets.
Oh yeah, I'm very sad I've not had a chance to watch episode 1 yet.
Neither have I.
I'm gonna have to get it in now. So the Jets have a few guys that they spent quite a few picks on offense to appease Mr. Aaron Rodgers. So one of those picks was on Israel Abanikanda, running back out of Pittsburgh. Everything that I'm reading, because that is my process for this. I'm not looking at Twitter hype videos. They're great. I love them. They're fun to watch. But if we're trying to dig and find all of this information, we need to read the beat writers. The beat writers are the best form of news for these guys. So they don't just look at a video and be like, oh, well, they're great. But Abanikanda has not had a very good start to camp. But if you're paying attention, if you were watching his film at Pitt, which I know we did, I know Stacy, we watched a lot of Abanikanda. and we were very impressed by size, speed, all that good stuff. But he's very raw at the position. He's more of a track athlete playing football rather than a football player running track, and he needs to get there. But I think that explosiveness that he provides is going to get him on the roster. It's going to be Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Bam Knight, and Abanikanda. Fortunately, for some of these guys, fortunately for Izzy Abanikanda at least, he had a nice little play in the Hall of Fame game where, I mean, the Browns had this man dead to rights coming around the corner, and he just absolutely blew by all of them. And we got the video up on the screen. Sorry to those that are listening. 42 had him dead to rights. I say 42 because I don't know who the hell these guys are. And Abanikanda just absolutely turns it on and gets around the corner. So that is the reason for the excitement for Izzy Abanikanda, and I'm there for it. But for this year, he needs to carve himself out a role quickly, especially with Breece Hall coming back from injury. If he cannot get on the field with only Bam Knight and Michael Carter standing in front of him for the first month or so of the season, then I'm going to be a little concerned, especially with the short shelf life of running backs.
So I had a question for you, because I keep seeing things online saying, the Jets are kind of done with Michael Carter, he might not even make the team. Do you think there's anything to that rumor? Do you think the Jets will go into the season with 4 running backs on their roster?
Short answer, yes. I think they will go into the season with 4 running backs on the roster. Is Michael Carter a guaranteed lock for the roster? No, he's not. He has been very disappointing every time we've seen him. I was a big fan of Michael Carter coming out of the University of North Carolina, and he really let me down. But with that said, right now their depth chart reads like this: Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Zonovan Knight, Bam Knight, Izzy Abanikanda, Travis Dye, and Demaria Crockett, and Nick Bawden. So they very well might carry 5 running backs on their roster, with Nick Bawden being a fullback and LaFleur coming over from the Rams, since those guys love their fullbacks. So they could very well carry 5.
Okay. What if Cook shows up there?
What was that?
What if Dalvin Cook shows up?
Oh, then all bets are off. then we're just screwed. Then it's going to be a freaking Kareem Hunt New Orleans Saints situation where everyone loses and no one wins.
Oh, that wow. As soon as I saw that news about Hunt going down to New Orleans, I was like, no, please, no. I have so much Jamal Williams there.
I'll tell you what, when I saw that he left Indianapolis without a deal because they couldn't agree on a number, I was like, he's Deshaun Watsoning them, that's exactly what Deshaun Watson did to the Browns. So yeah, Cleveland's out. Meanwhile, he's telling his agent, they're the most desperate. They'll give me whatever I want. When Jonathan Taylor leaves camp for funsies, I'd say Kareem Hunt has a little bit of leverage. So he's trying to milk every last dollar he can out of them, and good for them.
Yeah, I would too if I was in that position. So you've got a couple more Jets guys, don't you?
Absolutely. The next one up is Zach Kuntz. He's a tight end. So he's on the roster bubble, potential practice squad candidate, but that's just kind of out of necessity. They paid CJ Uzomah and Tyler Conklin last year. They spent what I believe is a 3rd-round pick on Jeremy Ruckert last year, tight end out of Ohio State, who I actually really liked. And he's actually getting quite a bit of positive buzz in camp. So I talk about Zach Kuntz to kind of mention, hey, go check on Jeremy Ruckert. Go see how he's doing. Go see if he's at the back of someone's taxi squad. Go see if someone didn't trust him and dropped him. Grab him, throw him on the back of your roster, see what happens. Because after this year, Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzomah are going to be gone. And that room's going to be wide open because Zach Kuntz is a absolute athletic freak show. I think his athleticism score or the NFL combine measurements was 94 out of 100. He was by far the most athletic tight end at the combine. So, I mean, we're talking 40-inch vertical leap, 10'11" broad. I mean, this guy's a monster. So just throw him on your taxi squad. Let's see what happens. See if he goes and he's a giant wide receiver at some point. Last one, Jason Brownlee. He is an undrafted free agent. So there is a decent chance that if you're not in a uber active dynasty league, Brownlee might still be sitting on your waiver wire. So go grab him, go throw him on your taxi squad, go throw him on the back of your roster, see what happens. Chris, I hope.
Chris is like, got it, done.
But he's a very explosive athlete. He's a wide receiver. I already said he was undrafted, but he came out of Southern Miss. He's a big boy, 6'2", 198. Not super fast. He ran a 4.59 40, but when you are as explosive as he is, a 39.5-inch vertical jump, 10'11" broad. I mean, those are silly numbers for someone that's 6'2", 200 pounds. So that is worth throwing on your taxi squad right there. And he's making several highlight reel catches. He's been moving up kind of the depth chart, working with both Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. So he's a perfect candidate to throw on your taxi squad and see what happens.
Nice. I think we've got some a highlight too of some of those like amazing catches he's been making in camp.
One of them is just insane. I mean, for those of you that are watching, there you go. Just absolute Odell Beckham Jr. over the top, just dunking on people.
There's a little one-handed grab up there.
Look at that. That's nice.
Oh, goodness.
Gotta love it.
They are fun to watch. I don't care. They are fun.
I'm not hating on the fun level. I'm just cautioning people for using Twitter highlight videos as their only source of information.
Could lead to things like Sky Moore, like what got me last year.
Oh no.
I feel like I just might be just early, not late, just tiny bit early on Sky Moore. Hopefully he redeems himself this year. All right, guys. So I got the Patriots, which I don't really ever talk about too many Patriots, but we got two guys on the team, two receivers. We got Kayshon Boutte, which is just such a fun name to say. And then we got Demario Douglas. So I'm going to start off with Kayshon Boutte. He drafted in the 6th round by the Patriots out of LSU. Guys, coming into the draft, obviously some questions out there, about his commitment, some issues with perhaps some drops that he had, 16 total in his career. And then he's already had 2 right ankle surgeries. So, and I didn't put this on here, but the main clip of him that I could find that was really going viral was the one where he beats a fellow rookie, right, in Christian Gonzalez. So in those, I'm kind of like, is this really like what we're getting all hyped up about? Like, it really wasn't all that impressive to me. That's why I didn't put it up there. But the one that's coming up there is actually Demario Douglas. So get ready for that, because that I'm super pumped about that guy. But for Kayshon Boutte, like normally a big dude, 6 foot, 205, wide receiver from LSU, like normally that's going to be enough for me to be like, yeah, let's go. Like, absolutely. But those injuries made me a little bit nervous. Hopefully he can kind of overcome those questions, surrounding, everything else going on with him. If not, I don't foresee him lasting too long in New England with Belichick there, because that kind of attitude, if that's really what's going on, is not going to fly in New England. Hopefully that's not the case, but who knows? So I'm not really buying in the hype on Kayshon Boutte right now, but I'll tell you who I am buying the hype on. And this is another guy who I checked with my friend Jim that I play in my Dynasty League with. We just had our draft. I texted immediately after I watched this video and did all my research this afternoon. I texted him and I was like, did anybody draft Demario Douglas? Can you go check real quick? Like, if not, like, when can we put waivers in? Go get him right now. So who is it, right? Demario Douglas. I had no idea. He wasn't somebody that we talked about when we did any of our receiver weeks. But let me show you who he is. Take a look. If you're watching all these videos on here, they're a little bit fuzzy, but it doesn't matter, because look at what he did. He just torched that defender. Okay. Look, getting in the end zone there. Here we go. One more time. Just look at that footwork. Oh, it's filthy. Like, I just love it. And, he's a 5'8" receiver, which I feel like is pretty much everybody this year. Drafted in the 6th round out of Liberty. Here's what some of his fellow Patriots had to say about him, and I think this kind of goes a long way too. So Jabril Peppers said the entire team has noticed this kid, right? They've noticed him, all the hard work that he's putting in. They say he's tough as nails, that he is picking up the Patriots offense, that he can play multiple roles. I mean, to me, this sounds like the guy, like the type of guy that really embodies that, Patriot way that they talk about, right? Somebody who's going to go out there and do their job, as they like to say. And, I did look up some other things. I found a local Patriots paper that said, nobody does papers anymore, site that said, that he has been seeing extended work out practices this week, and that could mean that he's possibly going to play more significant time in Thursday's matchup against the Texans. And The Athletic also reported that he was the only rookie to see consistent playing time with the first team offense. So, you know what? I am all aboard the Demario Douglas hype train. Sign me up. Let's go. Like, it just seems like this kid is just working so hard to be there to make the team. And I gotta tell you, that's not a great room of wide receivers either. So hopefully he can get on there. It's not great, right? I mean, so hopefully he can make it in there and get some playing time. But I'm really excited about him. So
I
yeah.
gotta say, Stacy, watching those clips, I don't think number 25 or 27 are making the team.
Yeah. Didn't look good. Right?
They
Not
did
so great.
not.
No, I can't imagine that Bill was too pleased with that kind of a performance from him at all. So now we're gonna move on over to the NFC, and I'm just gonna keep it rolling here. We couldn't leave out the Eagles, although most of their rookies are going to be on the defense, right? They've got one rookie who was on the offense, Tanner McKee, quarterback, right? He was the only, like I said, the only offensive rookie that was there really to mention. You can't ignore the defending NFC champs. This is going to be short and sweet, guys. No hype that I'm aware of, but he's lucky enough to get drafted on a team that's favored by Vegas to be, potential Super Bowl winner this year. So I think he's doing okay for himself. So hype or no hype, if I'm Tanner McKee, I am living my best life in Philly, watching Jalen Hurts and just hanging out in the background there. So no hype, but I'm sure Tanner McKee is going to be just fine. So, Tyler, tell me about the Giants.
The headliner for the Giants is my guy, Jalen Hyatt. Gotta love confirmation bias. Jalen Hyatt was in my top 5 pre-draft. Unfortunately, with the landing spot of the New York Giants, he dropped down quite a bit. However, he is showing why he was in my top 5. He's been one of the stars of the Giants training camp so far. He's been steadily moving up the depth charts. He's playing third team, second team. He plays on the second team. He burns the DBs, so they moved him up to playing the first team. He's burning DBs on the first team. So this dude is all over the field. He is just catching deep balls like crazy, like this one from Daniel Jones. And that's kind of the thing. That's one of the reasons I was excited for him. Quietly, was Daniel Jones is not great at a lot of things. He is actually a really good deep ball thrower. So, and Jalen Hyatt is their guy. That position on their offense is wide open. They have Isaiah Hodgins and 17 slot receivers. So there is no reason why the flanker position or the Z receiver, for those of us that pay attention to that kind of stuff, all the flanker or Z position is the wide receiver that lines up out wide that is not on the line of scrimmage. So they're not going to have a DB in their face when they line up, which I think would be good for a guy like Jalen Hyatt, who's relatively skinny, playing that role for them. So Hyatt is absolutely worth rostering. I wouldn't put him on my taxi squad, because I feel like he will contribute at some point this year. Giants have a lot of, like, as I stated, slot receivers. They also have a lot of injury-prone receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So if Jalen Hyatt can stay healthy and show this connection continuing to improve with Daniel Jones and keep hitting 24 freaking miles per hour on the radar gun whilst running, then I think he's going to be okay.
Not just the receivers that are injury prone on that squad. Got some tight end issues, some running back issues, but maybe they'll stay healthy this year.
Sure.
Yeah. Who knows?
Second guy that the Giants drafted, who's really the only other one worth talking about, is Eric Gray, running back out of Oklahoma. So he's likely going to be the Giants' primary backup. There hasn't been a lot of talk about that at Giants camp. I think the focus is just on Saquon, but they do not have much in the way of competition for Eric Gray. One of the big things for him is he's already the Giants' primary punt return man. So that shows that they already have trust in him. They trust his ball security. They trust his hands. They trust his ability in space with the ball in his hands, which always signals good things to come for players. So I am excited about Eric Gray, especially stepping up if Saquon goes out. But if Saquon's in the game, no one else is going to be relevant. Eric Gray will come in when Saquon allows him to come in. So that this is a guy, maybe throw taxi squad, maybe back your roster pending a injury, but I'd throw him on your taxi. And, if Saquon goes down, then time to give him the call.
There you go. Chris, tell us about them boys.
Oh, them boys. I mean, every year they got a chance. Right now, they got a chance. And these guys are going to help them get there. So they got a couple rookies like Luke Schoonmaker, Jalen Brooks, and Deuce Vaughn. But I'll go ahead and I'll start off talking with Luke Schoonmaker. He is a second-round tight end. He comes out of Michigan. And unfortunately, like this offseason, he hasn't been able to do much since he's been nursing plantar fasciitis, which I can personally tell you that hurts. So that had him on the NFI list until earlier this week. I think Monday he actually came off. So they're trying to ease him back into everything. And as he's doing that, it looks like from the beat writers, that Jake Ferguson has the firm grasp on the starting position as of now. And Peyton Hendershot, he's also like in the mix a little bit now. So with Schoonmaker, you have to wait and see how he progresses with that injury and how McCarthy brings him back into the fold and when he's going to be given that full green light. Again, he is absolutely worthy of a roster spot. Make sure in dynasties that, you get him because he has a very legitimate chance to be that alpha in Big D with Ferguson and Hendershot. Both of those guys were late round picks. But, since he's not been able to play, his hype is kind of like where it's supposed to be. It's really not too crazy. But if he does start getting on the field, start making plays, you can really expect that train to start to roar. Jalen Brooks, he's a rookie out of South Carolina. He was drafted in the 7th round. And, for many reports coming out of camp, he's been playing pretty good. He's been playing very well. The game doesn't look too fast for him. He's making plays. He's actually doing really good with the routes. He's getting praise from Dak. He's getting praise from the beat writers. And he's absolutely pushing for a roster spot. It's going to be fun to see him play in the preseason, to see what he actually does when he gets out on the field, all these rookies. We definitely want to see them playing, just so we can put eyes to what we're hearing from so many reports. But in dynasties, I say he's a stash and hope guy. So if you have a very deep bench or you have a spot on your taxi squad to store him, he's worth putting there just to see what happens. So the hype train, it's kind of getting a little bit going mainly from Cowboy fans and everything. But, so you still probably can pick him up relatively cheap. But I would not expect a breakout for him this season. There's so many wide receivers in Dallas right now. You got Cooks, you got Gallup. Turbin, he's getting some more work. And they actually say that, all the wide receivers are actually playing pretty well. So really don't expect big things from him this year, I wouldn't say. And then the other rookie that is in Dallas is none other than Deuce Vaughn. Now, Deuce Vaughn is that guy. You saw him playing at Kansas State. He was a 6th-round running back. And he's standing at a mountainous 5'5", representing all the short kings out there. I salute you, sir. And look at the videos of him out there. He looks like a middle schooler. I saw a tweet where somebody said, "Thanks to the Cowboys for letting my son go out there, for his wish to come true." I mean, look at this little guy. Look at those legs churning, like chopping. For those of you who can't see, like you really are missing a treat. Just picture Mighty Mouse carrying a Granny Smith apple, and like like a bunch of Shreks are trying to tackle him. It's just a beautiful thing to watch.
I heard somebody say that he looked like a toddler who grabbed their parents' keys and was like off and running.
That is perfect. Oh my goodness, that is perfect. I can't see anything other than it now.
This is all so mean.
I feel like so I'm 5'3", and I feel like if I were to go out on an NFL field, that's what I mean, I'm not that fast, but that's what I would look like size-wise. Like, just like as far as like me being that small.
Yes. So he is officially right now the shortest person in the NFL. He just took that title from J.J. Taylor, but he's doing his thing out there. Reports, they seem to suggest that he's having a pretty decent camp, and they're projecting him to make the team. So the beat writers like him, the team likes him. One of the major things, his pass pro is, he's going against these 6'5", 250 D linemen and everything, trying to pick up the blitz. So it's not exactly what you want it to be, and that's probably going to keep him from having a third down role. But, I mean, when you look at what's behind Tony Pollard, who is clearly the starter on this team, Ronald Jones, he's suspended for a couple games, and he's Ronald Jones. You got Rico Dowdle. You got Malik Davis, and company. And it's just that – so he really does have a chance to some type of role if they can figure out a way to use him. A lot of people are saying that he's kind of Sproles-like. And, the way he chops those little feet, yeah. But this time of season in dynasties, a running back can be thrust into relevance at any time, So I don't think Deuce Vaughn is really worth the hype right now. But you never know. You never know. So I'm not there yet, but in stashing him in dynasties in case, the tides turn, which they can in an instant, yes, he is worth a stash.
I want to see him get a touchdown in the worst way. Like, I really do.
I want to see him run up the goalpost and do a backflip. It would just be beautiful.
Oh my God. So I have a question for you, Chris, because you were talking about the Cowboys depth chart there, and you mentioned a name, and I got to tell you, it was somebody who I did not know and had never heard of. Who is Rico Dowdle? Who is this person?
Rico Dowdle. Okay, so
yeah.
Have you not seen the most recent depth chart for Dallas?
I did, because I looked it up today, and that's the first time I'd ever seen that man's name in my life. And I was like, who is this person? This is made up. Whose name is Rico Dowdle? Come on.
He's number 2 in the depth chart right now. That goes to show you how much stock you put into those depth charts. But you mean to tell me that the 2.4 points that he scored since he's been in the league for fantasy hasn't done it for your team?
It is not. Right.
Okay. So to tell you a little more about Dowdle, he was actually the RB3 behind Pollard and Zeke last year, or Zeke and Pollard, however you want to look at that, up until week 5 when he got hurt. And then Malik Davis kind of took over the spot. And when Dowdle was able to come back, McCarthy and Kellen Moore just kept rolling with Malik Davis. So, really, who knows? Both of these guys are undrafted free agents, so they really are expendable. As of right now, I think that Malik Davis has the clearest shot to be the backup to Tony Pollard, unless they bring in a vet, which I think a lot of people are expecting them to bring in a vet just because that running back room is very, very thin. But yeah, that's who Rico is. So now you know, and I think you should roster him if you're in dynasty leagues against me. Go get him, put him on your team. But everybody else, if you're not in my league, I'd avoid him.
It's okay. You can stay away from Rico Dowdle. All right. Well, last but certainly not least, the Washington Commanders. Tyler, talk to us about their rookies.
Rookie
singular
is Chris Rodriguez, and I put more effort into trying to find content about Chris Rodriguez than I did about any of these other guys. Really, all I could find was a interview with him and Brandy Flores, who's great, love her, about the possibility of him not making the team. So that's all I found. as a reminder, Chris Rodriguez was drafted in the 6th round out of the University of Kentucky. He's a grinder. He's a big dude. He's a one-dimensional back, unfortunately. That's the role he is going to play. He's going to be a short yardage grinder if he can get on the field. He's going to have to work on special teams to make himself stick on the roster. Right now, he is listed 3rd on their unofficial depth chart with Jonathan Williams / Chris Rodriguez. I don't really know what that means, but he is part of Jonathan Williams. Jonathan Williams is part of him, apparently. So he's kind of a back of your taxi squad guy. I was never super excited for Chris Rodriguez, but rookies simply aren't worth cutting right now. You never know what's going to happen. Stay water with it. I could very well be wrong about Chris Rodriguez, but with Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson on that team, he's not really going to see the field unless it's on special teams. So throw him in your taxi squad, see what happens.
So you don't think? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah.
I was going to be sarcastic.
So Eric Bieniemy has come over from Kansas City, and he's now the offensive coordinator in Washington. So the last few years in Kansas City, who you thought was going to be the starting running back really was not. So you don't think that Chris Rodriguez can jump off both of these guys and just be the man? You don't see it?
The last few years, the listed starting running back has been disappointing Clyde Edwards-Helaire and confusing Jerick McKinnon. What's it? Darwin Thompson was really a thing there for a while.
Deep cut.
The Commanders have a very defined 1-2 punch with Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. I do not foresee a surprise. Oh my God, Chris Rodriguez is the starter. I think it happened.
You put that hot take in the ether right now, and it hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it out there.
Yeah. Hey, it's not like anyone's going to punish you for being wrong, right?
It's true.
So appropriate amount of hype on Chris Rodriguez?
Yes, appropriate.
Okay.
None.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap us up for our AFC, NFC East rookies. Like I said, next week we are going to be right back at you talking about the guys over in the South. Make sure that you're following all of us over here on Twitter or X or whatever it is Elon's calling it this week. I am at Stacy_Perez83. Tyler is over at FF Tyler Heil. We got the Dynasty Deviant down here, Chris Burns. Guys, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button over on YouTube if you haven't already. Appreciate everybody who has subscribed, and make sure you're following us everywhere, Fantasy and Frames online. And we'll be back next week with a lot more awesome Dynasty content. Until then, have a good night, everybody.